Hi, I'm Becky from Bright Morning, and this is a short video about our most recent webinar on professional development and how we lead even when it feels like the world is kind of on fire. And so, with this, we find that many people are asking a version of this question: how can I lead adult learning when there's so much uncertainty? And when we think about how we answer this book, our anchor text is the PD book. What we do find is that people tend to spend a lot more of their time and energy on the latter part of the question, the uncertainty part and all of the chaos. But what we want to do is be really intentional about where we're shifting our energy. Can we think about what's closer to our sphere of influence and control? And when we're really intentional about where we put our attention and energy, we find that we don't just feel better, but we actually do better in our roles as PD facilitators. So it can be helpful just to even pause and define, what do we mean when we say professional development? In the PD book, we define professional development as a transformative process in which learners are actively engaged and for which the aim is to explore and expand participants' 3Bs: behaviors, beliefs, and ways of being. Even just pausing and defining PD is in your control. And when we elaborate on that, we believe that professional development is the following: it's something that helps people change their practice, it cultivates self and social awareness of the group, it develops and empowers communities, and it is a vehicle for social change and transformation. So, what we find is that highlighting some of the pitfalls or detours that folks can take can be really helpful. So, things not to do: don't just keep plowing ahead, maybe acknowledging that it kind of feels like unprecedented times, but we've heard that phrase a lot, and then just keep going with the agenda. That leaves people feeling a little abandoned, like they're feeling one way, but we're sort of pretending like everything's fine, and that can breed distrust. Don't wait for certainty. It is not coming. Control what you can control, and certainty is not one of those things. Sometimes that leaves us sort of delaying, canceling, or sort of waiting till the very last minute to plan for the meeting, and that really doesn't set anyone up for success. And then the last one is, don't get stuck in that sort of emotional and venting space. Sometimes a well-intended emotions check-in can end up taking 45 minutes when we don't create the skill or containers for those emotions. So, what can we do? In the webinar, we go into this more in depth, but we can assess and adapt. We can attune to what's going on in the room. We can assess our very intentional plans and agendas, and we can modify and adapt. Maybe we create a little bit of more space at the beginning for an intentional emotions check-in. Maybe we were going to go over 3 strategies during our PD. We might narrow it down to 1 or 2, but we still see the relevance in what we're doing. The other thing is, we can root in the now. We cannot control the future. We don't know what's to come. And so in this moment, there is good work to be done. And especially if you've been intentional with planning the purpose of your PD and it's really relevant, which is important in any time, but especially in chaotic times, the skills we build in that moment are going to be important for us to shift out of the chaos. And then there's the creating spaces with clear parameters. It's kind of like if you have a glass of water and you just pour it on the table and you don't really have a place for it to go, then it creates a huge mess. But if you have a container, if you're really clear about the purpose and you build the skill to hold those emotions, oftentimes an emotions check-in can be in under 3 minutes and still be really productive and just what the group needs. So with all of these different moves and pitfalls that we're naming, I want to acknowledge it takes a tremendous amount of skill. It can feel easy: 3 pitfalls, 3 moves here, but there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into the designing and planning of things, as well as the facilitation component as well. So if you're curious about these skills and you want to learn more and maybe you are ready to develop them, go ahead and join us for the PD workshop. We would love to see you soon. Onward.